सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 10. We'll chant verses 25 to 32.
महर्षीणां भृगुरहं गिरामस्म्येकमक्षरम् यज्ञानां जपयज्ञोऽस्मि स्थावराणां हिमालयः अश्वत्थः सर्ववृक्षाणां देवर्षीणां च नारदः गन्धर्वाणां चित्ररथः सिद्धानां कपिलो मुनिः उच्चैश्रवसमश्वानां विद्धि माममृतोद्भवम् ऐरावतं गजेन्द्राणां नराणां च नराधिपम् आयुधानामहं वज्रं धेनूनामस्मि कामधुक् प्रजनश्चास्मि कन्दर्पः सर्पाणामस्मि वासुकिः अनन्तश्चास्मि नागानां वरुणो यादसामहम् पितॄणामर्यमा चास्मि यमः संयमतामहम् प्रह्लादश्चास्मि दैत्यानां कालः कलयतामहम् मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहम् वैनतेयश्च पक्षिणां पवनः पवतामस्मि रामः शस्त्रभृतामहम् झषाणां मकरश्चास्मि स्रोतसामस्मि जाह्नवी सर्गाणामादिरन्तश्च मध्यं चैवाहमर्जुन अध्यात्मविद्या विद्यानां वादः प्रवदतामहम्।
So last week we concluded with verse number 27 of horses know me as Uchchaishravasam, born of nectar, of lordly elephants Airavata, and of men the king. It's all symbolic, and we discussed the concept of Amruta Manthan, the churning of Milky Ocean. So churning of Milky Ocean is nothing but how a seeker grows on the spiritual path. Unless and until you churn your mind, nothing is going to happen. So churning of the ocean, churning of the mind, it represents the sequence of spiritual growth. So you need to study first, you need knowledge, you need to consistently reflect on the knowledge of the scriptures, which removes the bulk of your desires. Your mind becomes relatively calm. And when mind is calm, it is conducive for contemplation. What's my purpose in life? What am I doing? Where can I find true happiness? So all this is nothing but contemplation. What is God? What is supreme reality? And as you continue your spiritual journey, you automatically qualify for meditation. And through sustained meditation seeker merges with the supreme reality. So the entire thing is captured in that story, Amruta Manthan, the churning of Milky Ocean. So that was verse number 27. So any questions from what we discussed last week? Verse number 28, please.
आयुधानामहं वज्रं धेनूनामस्मि कामधुक् प्रजनश्चास्मि कन्दर्पः सर्पाणामस्मि वासुकिः आयुधानामहं वज्रं धेनूनामस्मि कामधुक् प्रजनश्चास्मि कन्दर्पः सर्पाणामस्मि वासुकिः
Of weapons, I am Vajra, thunderbolt. Of cows, I am Kamaduk. And I am Kandarpa, the progenitor. Of serpents, I am Vasuki. So this snake Vasuki, we already met him in verse number 27. He is the rope with which they churn the Milky Ocean. And interesting reference here is to a cow called Kamaduk. Also, she is known as Kamadhenu. Now, it's used proverbially back home in India. I mean, everybody knows it. But the meaning behind that, hardly anybody knows. She's, she can fulfill all your wishes. So, she is known for that. So, if anybody wants peace and success, all you need to do is just go to Kamadhenu and all your wishes will be granted. Your personal life, in your workplace, in a community, it's a mythological concept. There is no actual cow called as Kamadhenu. Also, there is a tree called as Parijata tree. So you go and pray under that tree, all your wishes are granted. So most people, I would say 99.99% people, they follow these concepts because of superstition or blind faith. They don't know the meaning behind that. See, even if you go to India, even now you will find, a nice fat cow, a man or a woman, they parade it through the city, and people come and they bow and they buy some grass and they feed to that cow. So they do that with devotion. There is no doubt about that. But hardly anybody knows the meaning behind it. Why do we worship cow or a bull? It represents spirit of service and sacrifice, which we are supposed to emulate in our day-to-day life. It's not that you worship animal per se. Yes, we worship all animals. I say worship, we respect. We identify with all animals. So there is nothing special about cow or a bull. But it seems to represent that maxim that life is to serve and sacrifice. So any person who functions with this attitude in life, any facet of life, you have to be peaceful, you have to be successful, there has to be harmony in your life. And it applies individually and also collectively. So what is symbolism behind cow or a bull worship? So Swamiji has explained it very well in the book Symbolism of Hindu Gods and Rituals. So is 2 or 3 page explanation, and Lakshmi ji is going to read it for us. So can you please highlight, Lakshmi ji, Makran?
The Hindus consider the bull and the cow as sacred. This has a significance. The worship of these animals means worshipping the principle of sacrifice and service which they represent, so that the worshippers could imbibe this great principle into their own living. Today, the basis of worship is lost. The principle of sacrifice and service is hardly practiced by anyone, although the Orthodox Hindus hold on to these animals fanatically. The bull is called Nandi. A stone carving of Nandi is seen in the Shiva temple outside the sanctorium, with its head turned towards the shrine. The idol and its positioning carry a meaning. India being basically an agricultural country, the bull plays a very important role in the lives of people. Even after the innovation of tractors in the agricultural fields, the bull is indispensable. Besides its utility in the agricultural fields, the bull also epitomizes the very culture of India. It demonstrates a great principle of living. The bull toils the whole day in the hot sun and helps cultivate the fields for producing grains throughout the length and breadth of India. In return for its hard labor, it gets only some dry grass and water for its sustenance. It seems to function on the principle maximum work, minimum profit. There is no ego or egocentric desires polluting its work. No kartiva bhavana, doership, or bhokatriva bhavana, enjoyership attitude at all. Its activities are not driven by any desire. Neither does it crave for the fruits of the actions. It plays its role without worries of the past and anxieties of the future. It merely acts what it ought to do in life. This is the highest principle of action, the best code of living. The ancient Hindus recognized this lofty principle in the life of a bull. They tried to emulate in all their activities. They invoked the sacrificial spirit of the bull in their own lives. They worshipped the bull. The head of the bull is turned towards the shrine in the temple. This indicates that the bull's actions are dedicated to God, as an absence of ego and egocentric desires. By worshipping the bull, the Hindu invokes the spirit of dedication to higher values and service to fellow beings. That is the spirit of Karma Yoga, the path of action.
Lord Krishna refers to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita as Bharata Rishabha. It literally means bull among the Bharatas. Today, people all over the world seem to follow the principle of minimum work, maximum profit. There is a need to change the basic attitude towards work, to imbibe the spirit of sacrifice and service, to graft the principle of maximum work, minimum profit in their day-to-day living, to be a bull in the society. That is the advice given by Krishna. The cow is also considered a sacred animal, revered and worshipped by Hindus. Again, you find in the cow a spirit of true sacrifice and service. The cow also follows the great principle of life based on the attitude of giving. It gives wholesome milk to the society. Milk is a universal food consumed by one and all. the newborn child, youth, middle-aged, old, invalid, and healthy. The cow gives something valuable to society and takes hardly anything in return. The cow worshippers are only trying to imbibe this great quality, the attitude of giving, into their own lives. If the attitude of taking prevails in a society, its members develop selfish demands and desires. Consequently, there is struggle, stress, and strain in that society. Let their attitude change to giving, their demands and desires drop their selfishness. Harmony, peace, and happiness reign in that very same society. The dignity of the human race is founded on the principle of giving. Victor Hugo summarizes an ideal life in one simple sentence: life is to give, not to take. The ancient Hindus tried to instill this high principle in their own lives. For this reason, the cow was considered sacred. Unfortunately, this principle is lost and people worship the body of the cow fanatically. A fuller understanding of the lofty principles the cow and the bull live by would usher humanity to a more meaningful, purposeful life.
Perfect. So all you need to understand is the principle maximum work and minimum profit. And if you look at the world today, we are definitely going in the opposite direction. Minimum work and maximum profit. There are so many news once a week or once in a month on an average. There is anarchy or large-scale protest in a society or in a country. The moment there is any hint at, why don't you sacrifice a little bit for the sake of the nation? Economy is going down. We all have to live frugally or whatever. There are large-scale protests. So it's a clear indication of we are going in the wrong direction. So there is struggle, there is lack of peace, worry, anxiety, and when it is pronounced, there could be anarchy in the society. So it represents that principle. So forget about the society. You practice this principle in your day-to-day life. Life is to give, not to take. It starts at home. You carry that attitude to your work as a member of a society or a community, as a human being. So fascinating concept. Life is to give, not to take. So that's what it actually symbolizes when we worship cow or a bull. So it's a useful information. So are we okay? Verse number 29, please.
अनन्तश्चास्मि नागानां वरुणो यादसामहम् पितॄणामर्यमा चास्मि यमः संयमतामहम् अनन्तश्चास्मि नागानां वरुणो यादसामहम् पितॄणामर्यमा चास्मि यमः संयमतामहम्.
Translation. And I am Ananta of Nagas, snakes. I am Varuna of water beings and of forefathers. I am Aryama. I am Yama of controllers. So again, the explanation continues. Right? Everything in this world is nothing but supreme reality. And when he says, I am Yama of controllers, Again, there is interesting concept and a story behind this. And one of the Upanishads, Kathopanishad, talks about it. So Lord Yama is the Lord of death. See, in Indian tradition, everything is divinized. You can't ask why. Wherever mind went, they planted gods and goddesses. Even death is celebration. Oh Lord Yama has come. I'm going to merge with the supreme reality. So he's a Lord of death. And Kathopanishad talks about interaction between a very high quality seeker called Nachiketa and Lord Yama. So he was a teenager or a tweener. Guy who is 12, 13 is called a tweener, if I'm not mistaken. Before teenage, what is that phase of life called?
Tween. Yeah,
Tween.
teenager.
No, teenager, yeah. Before teenager, what is it called? All of you have kids, right?
Pre-teenager.
Okay,
Pre-teen.
pre-teenager. Okay, there is one particular word for that. It's not coming to me. Anyway, pre-teenager, 12, 13-year-old guy. So very questioning type, very inquisitive, everything wanted to know why. So he was a prince actually, and his father was a well-known king. They had a very prosperous kingdom. And they used to have a lot of rituals, So they were having a massive ritual. And this boy was sitting right next to father and he was asking questions. Why this? Why that? Why are you putting kika on your forehead? Why are you lighting a candle? His father got bugged with him. And he said, get lost, man. I'm getting disturbed. I'm trying to concentrate on the ritual and you are going on asking questions. So he pushed him, So he got upset. So he said, okay, let me go and learn from Lord Yama himself, the god of death. It's all symbolic. Meaning, I want to conquer birth and death. I want to come out of this cycle of birth and death. See, that is spirit. Body, mind, intellect has birth and death. But the spirit, the Atman, the God principle, the divinity in us is neither born nor it is dead. So whoever crosses over body, mind, intellect, that person he is immortal. You reach that state of self-realization. So where there is no birth, there is no death. So that's what it means. So he went to Lord Yama. What it means is he went and asked question to his guru, but he waited for 3 days. Lord Yama he was busy, so he could not entertain him. So 3 days, this boy Nachiketa patiently he waited. So what it means is a true seeker, he stays with the question. See, we all are students of Vedanta, and while studying, so many doubts come to us. One thing is there are no questions, meaning there is no spirit of inquiry. Second way is the moment question comes, you impulsively ask that question. You don't struggle to get answer on your own. So if you put efforts to get answer on your own, chances are that maybe 70-80% of the times you'll get it eventually. And there are certain subtle concepts which are not easy for us. You need a lot of grounding, so you need to clarify with your teacher. So that's what it represents. That 3 nights and 3 days he waited, in the outward rooms of Lord Yama. And then when Yama came, you can say his guru came. So he was quite surprised to see such a young guy, 12, 13-year-old guy. And so Nachiketa said to Lord Yama, sir, I have come to learn Vedanta. He said, yeah, but since you have come all the way, let me grant you 3 boons. So whatever you want, you can ask. So he was testing him actually. He thought a teenager, he'll ask for something, I want BMW, I want this, I want that, and all that. So he was a like true seeker. So the first boon he asked was, please appease my father. The father was bugged with him. Second boon was, please appease the community. He's a prince. You need to understand that. And the third boon he asked was, teach me Brahma Vidya. Teach me this knowledge of Vedanta, how to reach the ultimate. So when he says, appease my father, see, a lot of people, they have a misunderstanding that being spiritual means you neglect your family, you neglect your community, and you just feel emotionally high. Krishna, Krishna, Rama, Rama, something like that you are doing, and selfish life you are living. This is what good many so-called spiritual seekers, they feel, and that is their life, if not all. So when he says, appease my community, meaning you need to function in a spirit of service and sacrifice to begin with at home. Do your duties at home unselfishly. Otherwise, what spirituality are we talking about? Being spiritual means doing your duties. It is as simple as that. Then the second boon was appease my community, meaning with the same attitude of service and sacrifice, you function. At work, if you have business, with that attitude, you do that business as a member of a society, community, as a citizen of a particular nation. So you function with the attitude of service and sacrifice at home and everywhere. And then he says, teach me Brahma Vidya, I want this knowledge. So first two boons were granted immediately. Yama did not even think for a second. But the third boon is when Nachiketa said, Sir, teach me Brahma Vidya. I want to learn knowledge of Vedanta. So he tempted him with various things. He was testing him, So whatever ABC, all these things he tempted. He was a young guy, whatever young boy or a girl can get attracted to. All the things they were displayed. He did not flinch, Nachiketa, And then when Yama really started, you're a young boy, I mean, why you want to learn this knowledge? Take, everything is free and go. To which Nachiketa gave a reply. It's a very famous reply. It's in Kathopanishad. Tavaiva vahastava nritya gite. Tavaiva vahastava nritya gite. In English, it means you keep it, man. You keep all these Mercedes and this and that. I'm not interested. I have come here to learn Bhagavad Gita. So you teach me Bhagavad Gita. It's a very famous Upanishad, Kathopanishad. We have done one of the Upanishads few months back. Was it Isavasya Upanishad? Yeah, so Kathopanishad is one of the Upanishads. So Nachiketa tells Lord Yama, you keep it. I'm here to learn this knowledge. So this story talks about mumukshatva. Mumukshatva is that burning desire for liberation. We often use that word. If you have mumukshatva, or only when you have mumukshatva, your spiritual journey will start. Otherwise, it is not possible. Whole life you will be postponing. Whole life there will be thousands and thousands of excuses. And from your standpoint, you are right, because you do not have priority for this knowledge. Why you don't have priority for this knowledge? Because you have not understood the very purpose of life. A dreamer who is complacent in a dream, now how can you educate him? Nobody can. But the moment that dreamer understands that dream world is nothing but it's an illusion, I'm a waker. The moment that hits him, immediately he will start putting efforts to wake up. Are you following the thought flow? So similarly, what is our true worth? See, you are that supreme reality, all of us. the seat of infinite peace, infinite bliss. But what you and I are experiencing right now, none of us can say we are experiencing infinite peace. At least why? Because we have fallen into limitations. This is how Bhagavad Gita starts. The very first word, Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetre, we often talk about it. Dharma Kshetre, your original nature is that field of piety, peace, contentment, which has been reduced to Kurukshetre, field of worry, anxiety, conflict, disharmony. For what? So, what is what you are heir to and what you have reduced yourself to right now? So, the moment you understand that, how can you not put efforts to get to that state? Right now, you are not that well to do financially. I mean, imagine you're struggling to pay your bills, your mortgage, and maybe the basic food and all that. And you come to know that your grandfather has left you $100 million estate. Imagine that. Will you not do anything and everything to get to that, whatever it has to be done to get that estate? So now you apply this in a spiritual field. So we are heir to that state of supreme peace, supreme bliss. So once you understand that, your spiritual journey starts. That I want to break free, I want to liberate myself. So that feeling of that urgency for liberation is called as mumukshatva. Do you get the gist of the whole thing? So the story symbolizes that. So in future, when we talk about Nachiketa, immediately you should remember what? Because from time to time, we will repeat this at least few times in a year. So the moment we talk about the story of Nachiketa, it should remind you of what?
Mumukshatva.
Mokshatva. Mokshatva is
Burning desire for liberation. Burning desire for the liberation.
burning desire for liberation. When does that burning desire for liberation come? Answer is correct, but when does it come?
When we realize what our original nature is.
When you realize what your original nature is, so how can you be content with something inferior? Isn't it? See, otherwise that burning desire will not come. So the moment you understand that, your spiritual journey will start. It's a bug. You had to be bitten by that bug. So Nachiketa was bitten by that bug at the age of 12, 13. Even at the age of 85, you may not be bitten by that bug. And only when that bug bits you, your spiritual journey starts. And what is that spiritual journey? It's not that you give up anything, you do something different, you go to some different place and start living like a recluse. Therefore, the first two boons. So you understand the whole sequence. Appease my father, appease my community. So being spiritual is doing your duties, living with the attitude of service and sacrifice in your day-to-day life. Yeah, Lena, you have a question?
Yeah, thank you, Amiji. So I'm wondering, I know it's all symbolic, but why is it Yama that he talks to? Why is it the Lord of Death? What is the symbolism behind that?
It symbolizes state of self-realization. What is state of self-realization? You're not born again, you're not going to die again, right? So that's what it symbolizes.
Okay.
And also that urgency, the second reason could be urgency. That before I die, I want to learn this knowledge. So if you go to Lord of Death, definitely, he will make an exception. that urgency, See, otherwise we feel there is a lot of time, whole life you feel when you are 17, 18, there is no urgency to learn this knowledge. Why there is no urgency? We feel, the whole life is there. Why rush? When you are 30, 35, exactly same feeling you have when you had that feeling when you were 17. You talk to somebody who is 75, 80, they also believe that definitely with technology and all that, you don't know what are you talking, on an average up to 85, 88 is, healthy life is guaranteed. So let me go on a cruise, let me attend baby shower, wedding, grandchildren and all that, then I will come. So what we don't understand that next minute life can be snatched away from us. See that we all live in delusion, absolutely there is no guarantee. So it shows that urgency in a seeker. So therefore he went to God of death himself, But the more subtle explanation is he wanted to conquer death, meaning he wanted to reach the state of self-realization. It's all symbolic. So are you okay?
Yes, thank you.
So that's the main point in verse number 29, Mumukshatva. Verse 30, please.
प्रह्लादश्चास्मि दैत्यानां कालः कलयतामहम् मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहम् वैनतेयश्च पक्षिणाम् प्रह्लादश्चास्मि दैत्यानां कालः कलयतामहम् मृगाणां च मृगेन्द्रोऽहम् वैनतेयश्च पक्षिणाम्.
Translation. I am Prahlada of Daityas. Daityas means Rakshasas, demons. I am time of reckoners. And of beasts, I am the lion or a tiger. And Vainateya of birds. Vainateya meaning eagle. I am eagle among the birds. I am tiger among the animals. And I am Prahlada of Daityas. So again, it's a very interesting story. All Indians, they know it. Talk about Prahlada. Since they are born, they have been told, but the meaning hardly anybody knows. So Prahlada, again, he was a prince, but he was born to a terrible Rakshasa, demon, Hiranyakashipu, right? What was his father's name? Hiranyakashipu. It doesn't matter. Mr. A, difficult to pronounce. He was a demon. Demon means highly materialistic and sensual person. And when it is pronounced, why we say demonic? When you want to amass wealth or when you want success, power at the cost of others, see, that is where that demonic quality comes in. So there is no concept of identification with others. There is no concept of spirituality or religiosity in such a person. So Prahlada was born to such demon. He was born in that environment, surrounded by materiality and sensuality. But right from the day one, he was different. And when I say this, have you not seen so many examples where parents, they have absolutely no concept of higher values, but children, they are born with certain fine qualities. So it depends on what your vasanas are, what your desires are. So right from the birth, he had that mumukshatva, like Nachiketa. And his father created all types of obstacles in his spiritual path. But what you want, Vedanta youth classes, get lost. You're not attending. Want to attend Bhagavad Gita classes? No. You have to go and do some rituals or worship, want to go on a pilgrimage. No. So he was not allowed to follow any spiritual practice at all. But in spite of all these obstacles created by his father, he turned out to be a foremost devotee of the God. So what it means, again, it is symbolic. See, you have to continue your spiritual journey in spite of challenges in life. It's not possible that you'll have a clear passage in life. All of us, and don't take it personally, most people, they are waiting for clear passage in life. So let me write my exam, then I will take to this knowledge seriously. In summer break, this is how the child may think, a youngster may think. As a youth, as an adult, you may say, okay, let me settle down in my life. Let me get my promotion. Or right now I'm going through some conflict in my life. Let me attend to that conflict. Then full time I will come to the study of Vedanta. Or maybe that cruise I have booked, New York to London on the ocean liner, is the only. I'm not planting thoughts in your mind, please. Well, I know some people may get wrong ideas, but somebody mentioned to me, I think, last week, so therefore it is fresh in my mind. The only cruise liner in the world which can take you either from New York to England and it can bring you back. Is there such a thing, actually? Okay, find out. Whatever, Raji doesn't know, find out, Raji. And Vijay can take you because he has a lot of free time now. Once he gets, he's lost a job right now. Vijay, can somebody give him a job, please? I will recommend him. 10 out of 10. He's an IT guy. He worked for Apple and Google and whatnot. So let me get a job, then I will devote to Vedanta full time. Vijay may think. I'm just giving you as an example. So all of us are waiting for a clear passage in life. I'm right now mentally disturbed. Let me calm down. So these challenges will keep coming at you. There is no life without challenges. So Prahlada, he did not budge. The challenge was at home itself. And it's not like a story. I mean, it's possible that some of you could be literally arguing with your spouse or partner, to attend to these classes, especially on a weekend. What is this Vedanta suddenly? I'm going for a party. Why don't you come with me? You're neglecting me nowadays. So we all have to go through our own challenges. So Prahlada overcame all these challenges and he was fully devoted to study of this knowledge. That's what it means. Number one. Number two, see, the great achievement is when you fight negative background, when you come from negative background. When I say negative, meaning challenging background. And then you take to this knowledge. In spite of that, you take to this knowledge. It's a great achievement. Do you get what I'm trying to say? See, if you are born and brought up in this knowledge, in this environment, and you take to this knowledge full time, what's the big deal? Of course, it's a great achievement, but everything has been so conducive for you. But in spite of challenges of life, maybe you're not exposed to this knowledge. Maybe you are surrounded by people. They may be nice people, but they are materialistic and sensual people, they're ignorant people. And in spite of that, you take to the study and reflection of this knowledge. You change the course of your life. That achievement is far superior compared to a person who is born and brought up in a conducive environment. So how many of us are born in conducive environment? Very few of us. So we all have to fight our own challenges. That's all it means. So if a young boy could do it, why can't you and I do it? Number one. Number two, See, as you start putting efforts, ultimately your desires, your own vasanas will take you in a conducive environment. And that has happened to all of us. See, none of us can say that my father is a like enlightened person or a highly spiritual person or whatever. It might be few exceptions here and there, is possible. But you are in a conducive environment every week. Some of you are a couple of times in a week. Some of you are more dedicated, right? So why you find yourself in a conducive environment? It is based on cause and effect. Right now, you are in a spiritual environment. So how come you are in a spiritual environment is my question. Due to what?
My own efforts.
Your own efforts, your own desires, they have put you in this environment. Now imagine if your sadhana means your spiritual practice, pursuit of this knowledge, if it is more pronounced, will you not find yourself in conducive environment most of the times? You have to imagine. So therefore, I'm giving you an example of what is happening to you right now. Otherwise, it becomes a theory. No, who knows? No, it has happened to all of you. Right now, you are going through that experience. So it is, if you continue your spiritual journey, ultimately you will find yourself in a conducive environment. The outside environment is called as Mahat, is created by your own desires. If your desires are negative or your desires are materialistic or sensual, you will find yourself in that particular company. If your desires are spiritual, if your desires are backed by higher values, you will find yourself in that particular environment. So everything falls into place as you consistently follow the spiritual path. For that, you need conviction. So Prahlada equals conviction. You get the point? Nachiketa equals mumukshatva, that burning desire for liberation. So Prahlada represents what?
Conviction.
Conviction. If you have conviction, how can you not follow spiritual path? If you are giving excuses, that means you don't have that conviction to begin with. A young boy or a girl who has conviction to do well in studies, I mean, he or she will excel in spite of external challenges or circumstances. But when you don't have that quality in you, you have been wasting your time and whatever, then there are all the excuses in the world. So Prahlada equals conviction. Yes, Brad.
So when there's a conflict of interest, for example, this morning I have a conflict. I have an exchange student staying at my house and she has a basketball game, and I really wanted to go to the basketball game, but I also wanted to be part of the Gita class. So I had a conflict. I kind of think of it as either one of them would have been a good choice. So it was conducive for me to make the choice to be in Gita class. But if I would have made the other choice, that probably would have been good too. So sometimes we're conflicted over doing good over doing good, not just doing good over evil, correct?
Right. See, I mean, these conflicts don't happen on day-to-day basis. Once in a while it may happen. So you need to use your sense of proportion. I'm just giving you a situation, like somebody has come, somebody is visiting you, and that person is going to be there, just for a few days. And once a year they come, and then they want to go somewhere. So you can make that exception. I mean, instead of Bhagavad Gita class, okay, I go with that person. But that exception cannot be all the time. This is my point. Otherwise, every week there will be some, today there is niece, tomorrow there will be wife, third week there will be like friends, and so most people, they succumb to these temptations. So there is the mostly 99% there is no conflict, but there could be a situation in a life where we are faced with this conflict. So that time you can make an exception. So it is called as a sense of proportion. That is number one. Number two, if it is a really clash of higher values versus lower values, I'm magnifying, then you have to sacrifice lower for the higher. There is no doubt about that. See, again, I'm magnifying. Like you want to attend the retreat, right? Which we do, and your friends, they say, no, we are going on a cruise. There's a party, we have rented the whole ship, and there's a party. So then it's a clear clash of higher values versus lower values. So you don't have to go there. I mean, you may go on some other time. We're not against it. It is a clear clash of higher values versus lower values. So when there is a clash of higher values versus lower values, then lower has to be sacrificed for the higher. So sense of proportion is nothing but using your intellect to assess that situation, and then your intellect makes an exception.
Thank
If
you.
it is more pronounced, if it is a clash of higher values versus lower values, then lower has to be sacrificed for the higher.
Thank you very much.
Soldier's wife is about to give a birth. She is like high into her pregnancy, 9 months. So as a husband, obviously he would want to be there. But if there's a call, there is a war, your country calls you, he has to choose country over his wife. So in that context, it becomes wife, and a pregnant wife becomes lower, nation becomes higher. So these are the 2 points I can think of. Yeah. So Prahlada equals conviction of a seeker. And then he says, I'm the lion or a tiger, one and the same. And I'm eagle of the birds. So tiger and eagle, they represent self-sufficiency. A person who is not dependent on the world for his or her happiness. It's a most powerful test of our spiritual evolution. To what extent you are dependent on the world for your happiness clearly shows your spiritual status. If you are dependent on the world for petty things, small little thing, challenge in your life, or something is not in order, if it is producing mental agitations, it shows that you have a long way to go. But as you evolve spiritually, as you get established in this knowledge, see, you're not ruffled by the world, relatively speaking. Weather is here and there is okay, you don't care. Food is not to your liking, you don't care. People don't treat you properly, you don't care. So you're not dependent on the world for your happiness. And that's what you see. Why are they talking about tiger or eagle? They are strong animals. I think eagle is a national bird of America, bald-headed eagle. How many of us have seen bald-headed eagle? First of all, sighting is rare. And even when you see the bird, somewhere on the top of the branch is perched, alone. Tiger, you don't find them in herds. In the vast jungle, one tiger you find somewhere. As opposed to turkeys, the loud noise they make, 7, 8 turkeys are together. A funny sight to see. Nobody will say, I saw 8 bald-headed eagles today. It's not possible. So that is why we have selected eagle as a national bird of America. So tiger or eagle, they represent self-sufficiency in a spiritual seeker. That's the symbolism. So you're not dependent on the world for your happiness, or to what extent you are dependent on the world for your happiness, that shows your spiritual evolution. So you find out 0% is impossible. Everything bothers me. Not possible. Nobody can say, I'm not affected by the world at all. That is a state of enlightenment. We all are somewhere in between. So as you get established in the spiritual path, or to the extent you get established in the spiritual path, to that extent you're not affected by the world. Your happiness is not affected by the world. That is number one reason why is quoting eagle and tiger. And even in the spiritual field, you find it is weak people who congregate. Now, don't quote me out of context. That doesn't mean those who congregate, they are weak. It doesn't mean that. You may be part of congregation. Why not? But you're not dependent on congregation for your spiritual evolution. There are two different things. There are people, they must congregate, then only they feel, okay, we all are together, and you get that sense of whatever it is. Yes, let's do our spiritual sadhana together. No, a true seeker, he or she is absolutely on his own. So even in the spiritual field, it is weak people who congregate. If you're strong, if you're truly established in the spiritual path, you don't need company. In fact, company is a hindrance. It's other way around. And unless and until you segregate, you cannot evolve spiritually. Period. It's a law of life. Krishna was on his own throughout his life. He moved on from place A to place B. Others may try to congregate around him. That is different. Christ was absolutely on his own. It is people who found out the greatness of Christ, even in his lifetime. He never congregated. 10 people, 10 disciples, they understood his greatness. But there was a period of time, this is all historical, this is all history, but nobody knew where Christ went. 7 years, 8 years is unaccounted for. So he was in total seclusion. So that applies to all of us. That unless and until you segregate, you cannot evolve spiritually. Spirituality is not possible that every week we get together, hold each other's hands, and we may do it once in a while. It's okay. You have to do it on your own. See, I have given this example many times. When I finished 6-7 years in the academy, my first assignment was in the northern India. There's a city called as Chandigarh. I didn't want to go. I was so comfortable in Vedanta Academy. So Swamiji told me clearly, he said, see, lodging boarding is taken care of. Don't worry about it. I will provide. But unless you segregate, you will not grow. Unless you segregate, you will not grow. Almost like 22, 23 years back, he said that. And if you ask me, it made all the difference in me. As a seeker, when I say me, I'm talking about a seeker. So therefore, eagle and tiger he is mentioning. So these are strong animals, self-sufficient. Sparrows are found in herd. Deers are in herd. They have to be in herd. Zebras, they have to be in herd. Wild turkeys, they have to be in the herd. Because quantity gives them strength. But eagle is on its own. It doesn't need any support. It's so strong. Tiger doesn't need anybody's support. So a true seeker, he or she is on his own. When we say that, that does not mean you live in seclusion. You could be in company, but you're not dependent on the company at all. Even in the spiritual context, it is applicable. You may go to a temple or a church or whatever, participate in congregation or whatever, but you're not dependent on that. They're two different things. So I'm Prahlada, conviction. That's what we learned today. And I'm lion or a tiger, or I'm eagle of the birds. That equals self-sufficiency. So we talked about mumukshatva, burning desire for liberation. Then we talked about conviction. And then we talked about self-sufficiency. So forget about all the stories. If you can remember these 3 or 4 points, you got the message. But stories are useful once in a while. You know, it's a high philosophy. So sometimes we need a light dose. So, all right. So time up. What's the time? 10:32. So any quick questions before we conclude? All right, great. So have a wonderful weekend and see you next week. Get well, Charu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Very
Amit.
well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank you, Amit ji.
Bye.
Thank you, Amiji.